The reed stops. All tone considered thus far has been produced by blowing air across the lip of a pipe in much the same fashion as sound is made in a toy whistle. Reed tone comes from the interruption of the airstream by a vibrating tongue. The result of this interruption is amplified by the resonance of the pipe. The construction of a reed pipe is not unlike that of the familiar Halloween horn. The tone is of intense and often fiery color, although not necessarily of large volume. Trumpets are the assertive chorus voices. They appear at unison pitch and at sub and octave pitches, usually in the swell division of modern instruments. These sub and octave pitches unite with the unison to form a broad band of fiery tone. Chordal music sustains an emotional grip with reed sounding, and the combination of reeds and flues to appropriate music gives a tonal texture of great emotional and intellectual appeal. Characteristic or imitative color reeds range from the tuba and vox humana to the clarinet, shalmai, crumhorn, oboe, fagotto, English horn, and French horn. This example is played on the tuba major of the organ in the Cathedral of St. John the Divine. We will now hear the state trumpet in the Cathedral of St. John the Divine, voiced to produce the effect of the state trumpeters in the English cathedrals. Because of the unique acoustical characteristics of this building, which is the largest Gothic cathedral in the world, and the voicing of the stop, there is particular effectiveness in the building. The pipes are 600 feet from the main organ and choir, and are placed horizontally directly under the great rose window at the west end of the building. The very intimately colorful or classic type reeds are identified by early names in musical history. The crumhorn is one of the most useful of all reeds, both for solo and for minor ensemble purposes. tremulant is a mechanical imitation of the human vocal vibrato and is an arrangement for producing a variation in the air pressure at the pipe. It provides an additional color possibility. A cousin of the crumhorn is the rauchalmai, which is also useful in both solo and ensemble passages. The clarinet is the romantic development of these earlier stops. The English horn is a distinctive and appealing stop, highly suggestive of its orchestral counterpart. The oboe is interesting. Now let us hear a chorus of these classic type reeds at 16, 8, and 4-foot pitches. The tone is extremely intense and a good musical foil to the larger trumpet type chorus usually found in the swell organ. For this reason, these stops appear in this family relationship in the choir or positive organ and are available either for solos or in chorus. Of all the color reeds, the fugato is the most important to consider. The tone is midway in reed scale. It is equally useful for bass or treble line. As flue stops and mixtures are added together to produce normal organ tone, so trumpets and mixtures are added together to produce ensemble tone, just as essential, but of more limited usefulness. Where a passage of fiery brilliance is required, no other stops need be added to trumpets and mixtures. To indicate the tremendous frequency range of the organ by virtue of the pitches of its various stops, here is a scale on the organ in Symphony Hall, Boston, starting at 16 cycles per second or low C of a 32-foot contraviolone and progressing up through the top C of the 1-foot sifflute, or about 8,000 cycles per second. This last pipe has harmonics, the frequencies of which are beyond the range of human hearing. mutation stops, as the name would suggest, change or transform any tone with which they are sounded. This is accomplished by making more prominent certain of the harmonics in the composite tone. To the unison tone of a stopped flute, for example, let us add the nasade, or reinforcement of the third harmonic. The rather cool, calm, original sound is now bright and cheerful. To this combination, let us add the tierce, or reinforcement of the fifth harmonic. We now have a solo voice made from three separate elements. The result is entirely different from any of the original sounds. Again, here they are separately and together. This solo combination produced by the nasade and tierce and one or more unison and octave pitches is known as the cornet. In early music, it is the standard tone for use with an ornamented melody. Whereas mutation stops unite with unison stops to produce a composite sound, mixtures are multiple sets of pipes designed to make harmonics for a whole division of the organ. The pipes are unisons and fifths over a wide pitch range. As in all natural sounds, the greater the amount of sound, the greater the ratio of the strength and number of harmonics to the fundamental of the sound. In the modern organ, then, when it is required to produce a greater mass of sound, for clarity's sake, mixtures are employed rather than just the addition of more and louder unison stops. This means that complicated contrapuntal passages can still be clear, whereas in the Romantic instrument, polyphony was sure to be obscured by layers and layers of louder and louder sound. Listen to a passage demonstrating the difference between the two types of organs. There is another essential difference between mixture and mutation stops. Being of solo character, the pitches of the pipes in the mutation stops must be continuous, while the pitches of the ranks of a mixture seldom follow a straight progression from bass to treble. Breaks in the pitch composition at various points along the compass are designed for the acoustical characteristics of the building, the size of the instrument, and above all, to give life, clarity, and intensity to the ensemble. Since the prime use of mixtures is for ensemble, the comparatively heavy and slow-speaking bass pipes of the 8-foot stops are brightened and quickened in speech by the effect of higher pitches. In the treble, the pitches of the mixture are low enough in composition to add needed weight and breadth to that portion of the compass. Here is a scale on a high-pitched cymbal mixture, starting from the bass and going to the treble, which clearly demonstrates the breaks in the pitch line. Let's listen to passages on foundation tones of the great, swell, and positive divisions of the organ. Now notice the effect of adding the appropriate mixtures to each division. Properly handled, the pitch breaks in mixtures will produce such a distinction between treble and bass that at times the player seems to be using two manuals, yet the tone remains of a similar character. Mixtures are designed to provide harmonic structure for the various pitch levels appropriate to the various divisions of the organ. In the swell organ, mixtures are designed both to heighten the effect of the minor flue chorus and also to fuse with the reed chorus to produce the dramatic effects required, particularly in the French literature. As well as brightening the ensemble, mixtures also serve to expand and enrich the tone by derivative sound resulting from the acoustical action of one upper partial on another and on the fundamental tone itself. Let us consider a simple case of this derivative action. The 4-foot, the 2 2/3, and the 1 3/5 pitches are the first harmonics of the 8-foot series after the fundamental 8-foot tone itself. When these pitches alone are sounded, there is a light 8-foot tone generated among them, sufficient to keep the resulting sound at unison pitch. Mixtures may be composed of pipes sounding in addition to the unison and 5th, the 3rd, and the flat 7th and 9th. The greater variety of harmonics present, the more trumpet-like becomes the tone. We have seen that when stops are used together from one keyboard, their tone will blend into a mass that is different from any of the original components. It is the welding of these noticeably different voices into one cohesive whole that is the most important single factor in artistic organ building. It is relatively simple to make highly characteristic voices, but not at all simple to control these extremes so that in combination they will also blend perfectly to form new and worthy tonal elements. It is this task which takes thoughtful experience and a sure hand. In this control lies the raison d'etre of the American classic organ. Because it is American and not embedded in a particular restrictive national heritage, it can also embrace period and national requirements with equal respect. The subtle merging of diverse elements in all artistic media has historically been the keystone to our great commonwealth of art.